What's up, Unbroken Nation? Hope that you're doing well, my friends. I'm going to start today's episode with one of my favorite quotes. Um, and the reason why is because I really am focusing on this idea about what it means to be unstoppable in your life, what it means to effectively show up every day and not let anyone change what you believe you're capable of doing. And that quote, indeed, no one can thwart the purposes of your mind, for they can't be touched by fire, steel, tyranny, slander, or anything. Marcus Aurelius from Meditations. I think about this a lot. I'm going to read that again. No one can thwart the purposes of your mind, for they can't be touched by fire, steel, slander, tyranny, or anything. What that means to me, why I wanted to read that quote today, is because you control everything. The power of your mind, the decisions that you make, the way that you decide to show up in the world cannot be affected by other people unless you allow it to be. And I know how difficult of a conversation that is because we weigh in, we factor in all these experiences of our past, all these experiences of our childhood. We look at the understanding of who we are built and predicated in the truth that for many of us, I assume, especially if you're listening to this show, you've been through some dark shit, and I resonate with that, obviously, and so do so many of the tens of thousands of people who listen to these episodes every single day. But in that understanding, one of the things that I want you to think about is, are you giving away your power to people? Are you giving away your power to people, especially when it comes to the power of your mind? It's so easy for us to step into victimhood, and it's a dangerous place to be because it's a place where we tend to thrive, unfortunately and devastatingly, for lack of a better way to phrase it. You know, you've heard me say before, I think it's insane that people will say that they thrive in chaos. Well, why the fuck would you want to do that? Why would you want to thrive in chaos when you have the opportunity to thrive in love, compassion, hope, and joy? But the reason why so many people thrive in chaos is because they've given their power away. And you might be one of those people. And it's okay because now you can acknowledge that. And step one is always acknowledgement. The first thing that we have to do in this journey is face the truth and say, you know what? Because of the experiences of my past, I have made these decisions that put me in the position that I'm in today. And that's not necessarily about blame. It's not about shame. It's not about guilt. It's about simply looking at the truth. But here's what's really interesting about when you face that truth, you recognize that the power of your mind, the power in your head, the ability that you have to create the world and the life that you want to live in is entirely possible. But nobody's going to do it for you. And so when you think about what it means to not be thwarted, to be taken, to be beaten, to be outmanned, outgunned, well, if you don't allow that to happen, it won't happen. The difficult part in not allowing that to happen is that for so many of us, it's the first time we're stepping into it. You know, I was coaching one of my clients and we had this fascinating conversation where they came to realize the truth that they were torturing themselves every single day by running through life in a space in which the decisions that they made were effectively a resemblance of the same behaviors that their parents had. And because of that, what they had to discover, and the hard part of this, and it was one of my discoveries as well, is that at some point, the only person stopping you is you. Because, like, face the truth, you're not a kid anymore. You're no longer a child. Now, that doesn't mean we don't carry that weight with us. I've said it before. We're the sum total of all of our experiences. And so, one of the things you have to do is you have to strengthen your mind. That's the one thing that you have the full control over. And as you get deeper into strengthening your mind, you will become stronger. And I apologize if you're watching on YouTube, the camera just died. I have no idea why, but we're not going to stop. So, in this process of strengthening your mind, in this process of growing, of healing, of changing, of stepping further and deeper into who it is that you are, the one thing that you have to continue to do is to ask yourself, can I show up today in a scope of kindness? I recently ran this marathon, right? And right now I'm in the process of another physical endeavor. And over the years, I've done different things like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and the list goes on and on and on. But the reason why I decided to do those things was to challenge my physical capacity, not in a way that was about hurting myself, right? Think about this for a second. For many trauma survivors, the one thing that we know to be true about our bodies is that we've only ever been connected to them from pain, through suffering, through hurting, through feeling these unbelievable experiences of trauma. And for a long time, that's how I would treat my body in the gym, in intimacy, in a lot of different things where it was like on my day to day. I mean, fuck, think about smoking 2 packs a day, drinking myself to sleep all the time, being 350 pounds. The only way I felt like I could be seen was when I was hurting, when there was pain. I used to have to go to the doctor all the time as a kid. I was always sick. And that was the only place that I ever felt safe, was in that moment of time when there was no pain from my parents or punishment or hitting or screaming. Like at this one little semblance of time is when my body was physically breaking down. I felt safe. Now, there is some darkness in that. Like, if you really think about that for a second, like, what does that actually mean? Well, what that actually means is that because of those experiences and because the way that I assessed love and compassion and care was with pain, well, I continued to hurt my physical body. Why? Think about that. Again, this is causation and correlation. Why would I do that? Why would you do that? Think about this, especially if you're in this place in your life where you're starting to challenge yourself physically. Like, are you doing it to the point that you hurt yourself? Because if you're doing it to the point that you hurt yourself, you may want to make some meaning of why that is. Causation and correlation. Remember a little anecdote here, a side story. So about 5 years ago, I was on a softball league. Might have been 4.5, somewhere around that. I was on a softball league. And in that softball league, the day before, I had done this insane CrossFit workout, and my legs were so tight, I could not physically walk. Like, it was painful to move, right? If you've ever had one of those kind of workouts. And I get to the softball diamond, and one of the guys comes up to me. He goes, "Man, you don't look like you can move very well. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yo, my legs are so fucking tight, I could barely get out of bed today." And he goes, "Well, you know what? Why don't you just bat and we'll bring in a pitch runner for you? So I'll hit the ball and then somebody will come and run for me." And I was like, "No, no, no, it's fine. It's fine." And so I hit the ball, smashed this thing in the third, and 5 steps into first base, tore my hamstring. Partial tear. It wasn't an entire tear, but it was partial tear. And in that moment, it hit me so hard because I was like, fuck, I've hurt myself again. Well, now people will pay attention to me, right? And that literally went through my head. I don't know why that happened until I realized why it happened, right? And so I came to this understanding and this realization of a really empirical truth that one of the most important things that we can do is operate, even with our physical body, through a scope of kindness, right? And I'm getting to a point, I'm making a full circle here about why this plays into mindset. Because if you've only ever been unkind to your body, and like the experience I had in recognizing that kindness and paying attention to my body as well as everything else is the most important thing, then you come to realize that when it comes to challenging yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever that thing may be, the way that you do that is through a scope of kindness. And nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take away compassion or joy or hope or any emotion that is the opposite of hurt. And so even now today, right, running a marathon, challenging myself physically, doing Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever it is, I will be the first one to quit a class if I do not feel in my physical body like it is the best thing for me in the moment. Now that's very different than quitting because like emotionally I can't handle it that day. Those days I'll push through. I'll always push through those days. And I'll always push through those days because I think that's one of the most important aspects of this healing journey is that level of awareness. But if I'm hurt, if I'm injured, if something's just off, and you know, these CrossFit classes, right? People are always like, rah, rah, let's go, high fives, fucking do 10 more, put more weight on the bar, whatever. I will look at, I've literally in these classes before looked at somebody and like, no, I'm good. I trust myself. Because see, pushing yourself in that moment when you should not be is you relinquishing your control to someone else. And if nobody can stop you but you, then why the fuck would you do that? Why would you ever give control over your life to someone else? Why would you put yourself in a position in which you could potentially get hurt, injured, sick, worse? Why would you put yourself in a position of not showing up, not living life on your terms, not being the hero of your own story, not going deeper into education and learning and investing in yourself and trusting in yourself and building who you are? Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? Like, really ask you, like, why? And I'll tell you this because I think it's very, very important. When I say no one can stop you but you, I literally mean it. But you have to be willing to let go of other people's opinions of you, society's opinions of what is right or wrong, culture's opinions of what it means to be a man or a woman or whoever it is that you identify as. You've got to be willing to let go. You have to be willing to fucking let go. What are you holding on so tightly for? What point is there in thinking that if you adopt these ideas and understandings of what other people believe that you should be, that it's going to benefit you? Because I promise you it's not. And one of the greatest things that you can do in this journey is to change your alignment with the way that you think about yourself and the way that you build your identity. Because most people build their identity with the end in mind. They build their identity around this idea that when they cross the finish line, things will be what they expect. But you've probably experienced this in your life where you've crossed that finish line and nothing is different. And sometimes it's worse because now you don't know what to do with yourself. And in those moments, the thing that you have to do is actually start to adopt an understanding that the way that you should build your identity is in your actions on a daily basis, is in your decisions on a daily basis, is in the way that you move towards the goal, but not the goal itself. And there's going to be people who want to stop you. There are going to be people who are going to point you out and say, you've changed. You're different. I see the way you operate in the gym. I see the way you operate in your relationship. I see how you start taking care of yourself, how you say no to nights out at the bar and the strip club and doing drugs and getting drunk and going to the game and all the things that don't bring you value. There's going to be people who notice that. And then you're going to have to make a fucking decision about who you are and what you want and who it is that you want to become. Because as sure as the fucking sun will rise tomorrow, I can promise you that somebody wants you to stay the same. And that can be society, it can be your friends, it could be your fucking wife or your husband, your partner, kids. It doesn't matter. Somebody doesn't want you to change. But every day you make a decision not to change, not to remove the thing out of your life that you're torturing yourself with, not to operate through kindness for your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. Every day that you do that, you're playing a victim and you're giving someone else your power. And you have to make a fucking choice. Indeed, no one can thwart the purposes of your mind, for they can't be touched by fire, steel, tyranny, slander, or anything. Do me a favor. This episode was meaningful for you. If you took any value out of it, please go like, comment, share, pop on iTunes. It takes like 30 seconds to leave a review for the show. As you know, there's no sponsors for this show. Everything about Think Unbroken is about Think Unbroken in this community. And I could bring on sponsors and I could charge them a lot of money and we could sell you juices and jellies and jams and all that shit, but I don't want to. But this show can't grow without you helping me make it grow. And so I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and go and leave a review on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you listen, and then share this episode with somebody in your life. If you think it's going to be beneficial for them, if you think in any capacity it's going to help them and their life, do that. And one last thing, as of today, I decided that the ebook copy of Think Unbroken, my first book, is forever free. And so if you go to book.thinkunbroken.com, if you've never read Think Unbroken, if you want to get the PDF ebook, you can download it completely for free. If you want to buy the book, you can buy it too. That's up to you. Amazon and shit, I can't make it free. That's not up to me. I don't control that, unfortunately. But if you go to book.thinkunbroken.com, you can download the PDF ebook of Think Unbroken for free today and in perpetuity. I guess it wouldn't be in perpetuity. I lied. In the future. And you can share that with people in your life, share that with somebody you love, share that with somebody on this journey. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see you.